This is 40K Today, the show with more big guns than a Castellan Knight, that hits harder than a Smash Captain, and that's quicker than a White Scars biker, in a good way.
Hello everybody and welcome to 40K Today. I'm your host Seamus Ronan, and for the next 15 minutes we'll be providing you with what's new in the world of 40K. Whether it be the competitive side, the painting, the kit bashing, or the lore, we've got it covered. Today on the show we'll be talking with Josh Schutz, who is running a charity event to raise money for those with cerebral palsy. Coming up after that is another Women in Warhammer feature with Manda, where we'll be discussing how she first got into the hobby, some of her favorite tools, and insight on basing your miniatures. I'm pumped, but first, let me address the big elephant in the room. Why is the sound guy of all people running the show today? Well, the answer is simple. Sometimes the team gets busy, so I decided to step in for today to take a load off, but never fear. Those lovely voices are not going anywhere. Without further ado, let's take a look at this week's poll. This week, our question was, do you regularly watch battle reports? And if so, which creators do you like the most? There's nothing but love here for the same channels, Tabletop Tactics, Scardcast, Mini War Gaming, Tabletop Titans, you name it. But there was one comment in particular that caught my eye. Daniel said, 40K in 40 minutes. It's 40K, but in only 40 minutes. More people should release shorter to the point bat reps. I see the value of the longer format, but most times I just want to get my dose of 40K before sleep. And I hear that. I myself am a fan of the longer form battle reports, but I'm very down for some bite-sized bat reps. I'll have to check those out. If you know of any content creators worth sharing, go to the 40K Today Facebook page and sound off. We'd love to hear from you. Now that we've wrapped that up, let's move on to our first feature of today. Josh Schutz is one of the many wonderful members of our 40K community, and he's organizing an event to give back. Hammer is the name, and it's a charity event that raises money for a special needs school in Connecticut. Our very own Tanya Gates got to catch up with Josh and find out what this tournament is all about.
So I'm here with Josh Schutz, and I'm so excited to have you on the show today. And we're going to be talking a little bit about an upcoming event that you have planned. So thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So let's just start off with you explaining to our listeners a little bit about what your event is all about.
Well, my event is heavily inspired by my older brother Joel, who passed away a couple years ago. But he was severely handicapped with cerebral palsy, and a huge part of his life was his school life at St. Vincent's Special Needs in Trumbull, Connecticut. And ever since he passed away, I've really wanted to do something, to benefit his school, because they were such a huge part of his life. And I figure, what's better than to raise money through the hobby that he enjoyed and I enjoy the most?
That is so amazing. So actually one of my really close friends has cerebral palsy as well. And so this is actually, it's a charity that would also be close to my heart. Just a little sort of aside. How did you and your brother enjoy the hobby together?
Well, his favorite color was green. So one of the first things we did was we built and painted a Salamander's army.
Amazing.
Salamander Space Marines were his absolute favorite. He loved them. But we also had, we had some really fun games together. We'd throw some dice in a cup. We'd roll them. He'd laugh. I'd laugh. And it was just overall a great time. We just have fun playing the game together. Basically all spots of the hobby.
Oh, that's amazing. So is this your first time being a tournament organizer?
It is indeed. I've been around the crowd a little bit. I have a lot of friends that have TO'd. This is my first time TOing myself.
Yeah. How are you finding the process?
It's a little bit overwhelming at times,
Yeah.
but just having that support group is very, very helpful.
Excellent. So your event that you're running is an invitational. Can you walk us through a little bit about the thought process as to why you wanted it to be an invitational?
Surely. Well, first and foremost, we're amidst COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to make sure that our people are safe. So having a smaller population of people playing is very helpful in order to make sure that, everybody has a face mask, everybody's using hand sanitizer, we can spray down the table with Lysol, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
But then also, because of COVID-19, nobody's been able to play and experience 9th edition at the larger scale, especially in the United States. I know there's a couple of GTs and RTTs happening here and there, But we really wanted to aim for top players that could, really give a good, their response to ninth edition, if that makes sense, for the people sitting at home. So the people at sitting home can stay safe, but they can also learn a lot, even if they can't go out and play themselves.
Awesome. So you are basically wanting to demonstrate what is capable within the new rule set. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Oh, so you found these top players. Did you take into account maybe their chosen faction when deciding, or like how did you decide that these were the players that you wanted?
Yeah, so I'm pretty close friends with a lot of the guys that are coming. We have some big names like Sean Naden, Kurt Klaus, Eric Trock, just to name a few. But it was really nice because conveniently they have a nice spread of factions. So we have a couple Eldari, we have a couple Custodes, we have a Death Guard, etc. So we have a nice spread of like the quote unquote boogeyman lists that we're going to be scared to face going into 9th edition. So we can get some insight on how to play them if we're playing them, or how to play against them if we're going against them in a tournament.
Awesome. So you said that this is a charity event. So if people want to take part or if they want to donate, how can they do that?
Surely. So I have a GoFundMe up at this point, which will be linked in the show notes, I think. However, you can make some guys on stream do some silly stuff if you want to donate through our stream. We'll be streaming all day on Twitch on Saturday. So if you wanted to drop by, say hi, we'd love to have you. And if you want to donate through there, like I said, there's going to be some fun stuff that we can do with that. So that'll be great.
Awesome. So it'll be like donating bits, or you're going to have like a donation link, or?
Yes, we'll have a donation link in the Team Battle Brothers, twitch.tv/Team Battle Brothers. And yeah, you can donate through there.
Excellent. I might just have to do that. But we'll make sure that we link everybody to it. We'll run a little bit of promo for you. But thanks so much for coming on the show, and I look forward to this event.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
That was Josh Schutz speaking with our own Tanya Gates. If you want to donate to his cause or check out the event live on Twitch, we'll be putting links in the show notes. It always warms my heart to see good people doing great things in our community. Next up, we feature another woman in Warhammer.
Today's episode of 40K Today is brought to you by Frontline Gaming. Frontline Gaming is a one-stop shop for all your Warhammer hobby needs, discounted products, American-made gaming mats and terrain, and a full line of miniatures painting service and daily hobby content. And this can all be found at frontlinegaming.org.
Welcome back. Our next guest for today is Manda Dluback, a woman in Warhammer. Our very own Tanya Gates got to talk to her about her beginnings in the hobby, as well as some of the gear she uses on her projects. Not to mention an interesting perspective on bases and nurgly goodness.
We are back with Manda for another Women in Warhammer feature, and I'm so happy to have you on the show, Manda. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
So we've sort of been talking for a while. Actually, I think that we've been talking since I got started on Instagram, which would be like a year and a half or something like that.
Yeah. Wow, have I been on that long?
I think it has been. And you've always been such a positive force in the community. So I'm super excited to have you. So let's just dive in with the questions.
Shoot.
So how did you get started in the hobby?
I actually got started because my husband wanted to show me his hobby, which was, I think he was playing, I want to say it's War Machine. He was playing that, and he showed me this like werewolf model, and I was like, this is really, really cool. And so he's like, you can paint it. So he put down paints and brushes in front of me, and he's like, this is what you do. And I kept going, and then I kind of hit where he was at, and I just YouTube.
Yeah. So many good resources out there.
Yep.
But you also have a lot of good resources on your Instagram as well. So I wanted to talk to you about your product reviews, because I'm always super interested in the things that you buy and try and the things that you have to say about them. But have you found anything recently that you're really excited about using, or that really like piques your creativity?
I actually found a set of brushes recently that I've been working with, and we'll be putting out a review soon. They've only got 4 brushes out right now. It's Hobby Hotspot, Yeah, they're really, really nice brushes. They hold their tip nice, and I have been abusing them. Abusing.
I'm
They're
actually
mostly
like,
synthetic.
I'm pretty like notoriously hard on brushes as well. Yeah.
I mean, they're great. They're a little more pricey, I would say, because I mean, I've got brushes that I got for $3, and I use those a lot. So these are $11 a go, but he does have a discount code right now. And if you talk to him and you're a content creator, he usually gives you a better discount as well. But they're really nice. He's got one that is sable hair. The rest are synthetics. Some fine detail, but they're really nice.
I might have to check those out.
Yeah, I'll send you a link for them.
Oh, awesome. I've also noticed on your Instagram that you've been painting a lot of like Death Guard models. Well, since we are a 40K podcast, I thought maybe we talk about that a little bit. What drew you to the Death Guard as a faction?
Their nurgly goodness. I like the pustules, and I like the open wounds and the flesh growing, because there's so much you can do with them. You can make them look however you want them to look.
Yeah. I never really got into Death Guard. It's not like I paint sort of like a nice, clean, pretty kind of look. So I'm going into more of like the Slanesh kind of demons myself. But I really love watching what all the content creators like yourself are doing with Death Guard. Also, you do a lot of scenic bases.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite thing to do in this hobby is basing.
Yeah, I could tell because you get really creative with it, and you do like you're fearless. You do like resin pours and stuff like that. I'm kind of like a little trepidatious when it comes to scenics. I have a bunch of stuff. I haven't really worked up the gumption to try them. Do you have any advice for people like me who might be wanting to take those first steps into scenics but don't really know where to start?
So, best thing is forget about a model going on it. Just make a base to make a base.
Okay.
So, think of it as like if it's a piece of terrain and you're picking up a piece of that terrain. So it can fit with what you want to do overall. So if you're doing a jungle, make that base, not necessarily so someone can stand on it, but just so it'll fit thematically. So it could be like an objective marker or something when you're done. But then just picture it, look up some reference photos, and just go for it. Don't hold back. Just do it, because if you screw up, you can always redo it.
All right. So like you could almost do like a test run first.
Absolutely.
Right? Because like for me, that's the big thing for me is like I paint entire armies, right? So like taking one of my painted models and then like just jumping into a base kind of scares me. But I feel like an objective marker, I could do a bunch of those to try.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a really good advice, actually.
And it allows you to go not just necessarily with just foliage like a lot of people put on their bases. You could do something else that would be in that area as well, and then be like, oh, you know what? That looks good, and if you can stand it up, like I've got some snow bases I did with rock that's standing up rather than laying on the base.
So just like be fearless, jump in, but
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, you know what? I might have to hit you up for some ideas or feedback because I think I'm going to jump in with my Slanesh stuff.
Anytime.
Thanks so much for being on the show, Manda.
Thank you so much for having me.
That was Manda chatting with our own Tanya Gates. Their discussion on scenic bases really piqued my interest. I'll have to give it a shot on my GSC characters, or maybe the Ridge Runners. Well, whatever the case, if you want to check out our Instagram, we'll have a link in the show notes as per usual. You know what's coming up next. It's time for the model of the day. Ugh, not again. Let me get that fixed right up. That's what sound guys are for.
It's the model of the day, the model of the day, the model of the day.
This Thousand Sun Leviathan Dreadnought by Instagram user @Araman_tribe is a study in lighting. The glow effects on the lenses and lights give it an ethereal glow that is menacing on the tabletop. This is further enhanced by the perfectly executed gore on the weapons and armor. A simple dark base allows the focus to be drawn to the front plate of the Dreadnought. This technique is used by advanced painters to create a mood and tell a story with their models. And let me tell you, this model is a display of skill and technique. We'll be featuring it on the 40K Today Instagram, and we'll have a link in the show notes as usual. And that's it for today. Big thanks to our content producer Alex Bainter and our social media queen Tanya Gates for all of their hard work that goes into making this show a reality. We'll see you all tomorrow, and until then, for Paul, John, Steve, and the rest of the 40K Today crew, I'm Seamus Ronan, and that's what's happening in 40K Today.